Hi friends, hi from Portland, Oregon. This is all about signs and synchronicities to teach you more so you can understand, interpret them, and even make it a two-way conversation. There are two ways to approach this. One is for people who are more analytical and structured, and the other is for people that are more in flow and creative. There are so many different ways that synchronicities can come into your life. First, we're going to start with just explaining what synchronicities are and why they're so special. Originally, this term was coined by Jung, the great philosopher Carl Jung. And essentially the idea is it's an event that happens that is so unlikely or timed so perfectly that you couldn't just make it up. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. I would also add that this is something that can be incredibly personal. Synchronicity will happen both in perfect timing and perfect meaning to create an impact on you. So somebody else could be standing next to you and that could happen to you and it could not mean the same thing to them. Synchronicity also will make it clear that there's not a separation between your inside world and the outside world. This could be something like, I was just thinking of a red truck and then a red truck comes around the corner. I think that's the classic one. Or people would say, I was just thinking of this person and then I picked up my phone and they were calling me. Now we're understanding what it is. And this can be numbers, animals, seeing a particular person somewhere. It can be something that is actually general, like it could be whatever. It could be dogs. Or it could be something like ultra specific, which is like this type of dog with this type of owner. Be names. One thing I'll say is they tend to come in waves. It could just be something that happens once, or if you really get a theme going, then it'll start to build and you'll start to see it. And this very much applies to the idea of law of attraction, how things tend to build in our life and evidence builds in our life. If you're the more analytical thinker, you're thinking everything must have a distinct meaning. And in a way, yes, it does. But I want you to keep in mind that these synchronicities are tailored just to you. If we're talking numbers, it's great to look up numerology if you need a structure, and that's what you need to latch onto. If we're talking animals, there are all sorts of guides and lists. You can just Google all those things. Downside with that is you're going to get different meanings from different people. But generally, if you see a dove, most people are going to agree that it's a sign of love and peace, and maybe there's something more specific within that, but that's a very different sign that you see a coyote. That's for my more analytical people, for my more creative people, and for both. Make it a two-way conversation, as in speak into existence. So I would highly encourage you, and this is a practice I started a while ago, and when I first did it, it kind of felt odd, is speak to the universe or God, or whatever you believe in. If you have a history of prayer, this should be very easy for you. And if not, if you're coming from like a agnostic or atheist background before you got into this stuff like I did, it might feel a little weird in the beginning. But just try it and speak to the universe in the sense that you could start by, I want a sign about this and I want it really clear. I want to know what 111 means when you show it to me. Or if you're already receiving a synchronicity, I want to know what doves mean when you show them to me. That's one route. Or you can take the more assertively creative route, which means universe, spirit guides, whatever you believe in. When you show me 111, I'm going to think that it means I should do this thing, or I'm going to think that it means this is encouragement in general or on this subject. You get to decide. Like an example of this is I decided 444 was success in music. And that's not the specific numerology for that. But after I decided that, whenever I was on a path of success in music, I had things in music that were happening, that like doing a big interview, I'd go out in my car and I would see 444 5 times within 3 minutes, and I'd be at a stoplight and there'd be one car that said 4444 and another one that said 444, and I'd be like, I heard you loud and clear. Confirmed. Living in a synchronistic way is very much like when you hear a lot of people talking about moving into New Earth or the 5D or heaven on earth or right place, right time. These are basically all terms, all general terms for the same thing. When you're opening yourself up to synchronicity, you're realizing that life can be this beautiful flow and dance, and it doesn't have to be something that you fight or you need to force your way through or you need to figure everything out. When you're experiencing a lot of synchronicities, that's a really good sign that you're in balance, you're in flow. Life can just be this beautiful, easy, magical journey, and it's also showing you that that's possible not just for random things and not just for messages, but synchronicity could go beyond that, because something that would be incredibly synchronistic would be running into the right person at the right time. Recently seeing a social media video about someone saying that they really wanted to become a musician in LA, and they ended up deciding to get this job, and they got stuck in the elevator one day, and one other guy came in, and he just happened to be the head of a record label, and he basically got his music heard by the entire record label. That is very much synchronicity, and that is very much being in flow. Just think about this as like all the things we really want in life. The most open door and the most joyful door, the doors that are being opened for us are the ones that are being done through synchronicity. This isn't just something that we get to play with just for fun, even though that's totally enough. It is also something that is quite literally a yellow brick road, golden paved pathway to everything that we want. And not just getting it, but having it manifest and having it realized in a way that is really just fun and magical. If this is something you want to learn more about, click the link below this. Learning about synchronicity is just the beginning. It's like being a surfer, and when the sets come in, the waves come in, you got to be in the right place, kind of thing. That's really our only job, is to learn how to be in the right place and then allow those waves to take us in. And those waves are the life experience of things magically happening, all our dreams unfolding. This is all part of my intuitive and psychic development and learning to break through limiting beliefs, because if you have limiting beliefs, especially ones that you don't know you have, which I would say 99% of people have them because they're not in our brains, they're in our bodies. That's why for a lot of people, affirmations don't work, manifesting isn't working the way they want. They're getting stuck in like endless therapy cycles, some synchronicities, but they're not consistent. They're in relationships, but they're toxic. They're having money problems. All these things have to do with subconscious beliefs. That's part of what I teach. And I also am a community builder, hold a space to bring people together with like minds so that we all learn together and grow, because I really believe that that is the future way of doing things. Also, just want to say bonus, check your email, because I sent you an extra gift there to help you with your abundance and your manifesting. It's called Golden Ratio Frequency, and it's something that has helped me so much. It is literally pure magic in a bottle. So if you want to supercharge your intuition, break through limiting beliefs, and join an awesome community of like-minded people, click the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.